What's up? This is your boy, your motherfucking boy, King Known Uncensored, right? And we've been following this Puffy case, and a lot of wild shit has been revealed. You know, the early stages, they are cross-examining Cassie, right? I'm only going to read the last 2 days because we are aware of the things that went down the first 2 or 3 days. But man, Puffy's defense team, like whoever is on that squad, they are becoming Cassie's nightmare, bro. Big nightmare. And we're going to acknowledge we're going to reference Inner City Press. Shout out to him. He's got the transcripts. So shout out to him. Inner City Press. He's actually at the court case, so that's my source. Let's get into it. And we're going to start with a day ago. They're questioning Cassie. Did you try to avoid anything in the freak-offs? Cassie says, I tried to avoid kissing. It seems too intimate. But Sean told me to do it, to kiss the escorts. What did Sean ask you to do on your 29th birthday? A freak off. What did you write here? This is all we do. I'm just getting back on track. I'm sure you could call Kim or something. What did you mean by this is all we do? Freak offs. What happened at the Cannes Festival? Sean accused me of taking drugs from his boat. He threw me off, but my passport was still on the boat. And you were on the red carpet the same night. Cassie says yes. Did you attend the movie? She said yes again. Then what? I spoke to a friend of Sean's, and then we had a freak off. What's this? My eyebrow healed up a little bit. A week later, I have a permanent scar on my eyebrow. What's this? Me at the Cannes Festival. Did you feel that you could leave the London hotel? No. I understood his capability, his access to guns, and the threats that he made. Were you taken to the hotel after the assault? No. Snuck me into a hotel covered up so no one could see my face. How long were you at the London hotel? A week, a little more. An assistant bought me ice cream. What was this assistant's name? Genevieve. I seen Sean bring her back from over the balcony and throw her on the patio furniture. And Carrie Morgan, I seen Sean hit her in the head. Did you get drugs on your own? Occasional drug dealers, opiates, Xanax, Valium. I believe we had a freak off in the Turks and Caicos. What floor did you live on? 875 Comstock, 17th floor. Did a friend stay with you? Yes. Sean came and held her and threw her on the patio furniture out on the balcony. So the AUSA switches. The rule requires that this be sealed. The judge said, let's proceed without specifics. One of Combs' lawyers said, are you fucking that person is just a vulgar way of asking, are you cheating? Both sides open up on infidelity. This is not 412. AUSA Comey says, I don't want you to read into the record, so I'll hand copies up. The judge says, defense. So now Combs, Puffy's lawyers are coming into play now. These are messages about jealousy in the vocabulary of, are you fucking that person? That's fair game. This is the real world way of people expressing hurt. Judge says tomorrow morning court is adjourned. So that is, I believe, to be day 4 or day 3. All right, so the next day, May the 15th, which is Thursday, one of Puffy's lawyers. These guys are really, really good. I thought you were going to take his off my plate. Sean's lawyer says, I will keep trying. This is the main witness. She stands by herself. That being said, we've been doing this all night until 3 in the morning. We flagged exhibits for him. All right, let's get back to the examination. So Estavo is back. Ana Maria Estavo. She's back, and she's cross-examining Cassie. Who is Tommy Mottola? A well-known producer. You were an up-and-coming star. Cassie said, I guess you could say that. After you signed with Bad Boy, were things still platonic? She said yes. She asks Cassie, who was at your 21st birthday in Los Angeles? Britney Spears, Dallas Austin. How did you get them there? They came for Sean. You were very beautiful and charming. Thank you. It's true. Did Mr. Combs' mood depend on whether he was withdrawing from opiates? She says he was more irritable, I would say. What other drugs was Mr. Combs addicted to? AUSA says, objection, no foundation. The judge says, I'll ask if I want the grounds. She says, he still ran his companies even when he was having all these freak-offs, right? He did. What was he addicted to? Success. Cassie laughs. What substances? Opiates? Yes, he told me and I saw it. Interesting. It's not about what I felt, right? Because you're skipping over a lot here. Estavo says, what did you write? Cassie says, as much as you think you're Bruce Willis, you're not. Your kids were babies when we started dating. She's getting snarky. She's catching an attitude. That means Combs' defense team is asking the right questions. You also saw the Book of Mormon. Yes, Cassie laughs. Masked Pleasure, is that a sex club? I would assume. He asks, are you ready for the night? What do you say? Yes, I have to go get some things. The time after San Bernardino, you learned that he had overdosed. Yes, a very strong opiate. Were you ever not addicted to painkillers? We took Ibogaine. Where did you get it? Cancun, Mexico, separately. You tried to get into a rehab, the Golden Door. Cassie says it was a spa. There was a time I lost all sense of smell and taste and woke up in the hospital with an IV in my arm. I tried then to get help. Wow. When Combs threw you off the boat in Cannes, when he accused you of taking drugs and squeezed your leg, among other things, but you still wanted to be with him. Cassie says I did. Switching topics, when you say Mr. Combs went with guns to find Suge Knight, do you remember telling the government that you did go with them? Cassie says no. Let me just show you. AUSA says just for the parties. I did not go with them, so I don't think I said that. Estavo says, you also did drugs with Miss Morgan, right? Cassie says yes. Do you recall telling the government that you did not set what he did, hitting her in the head with a wooden hanger? Cassie says, I saw the hanger. I saw he was angry with that I was doing drugs with Carrie. This broke up your 17-year friendship with her. It did. Did you tell Mr. Combs about your relationship with your now husband? No. Miss Morgan sued you and Mr. Combs. Cassie says, made a demand. And you paid part of that. I did. And you haven't spoke with her since. Maybe one text. And that was the relationship ender? Yes. You would heat up the baby oil. Cassie says, yes. Now, is this from the day before the Intercontinental Hotel incident? AUSA Johnson, this is a long document. We need time to read it. Now, basically, you know, they had like a little recess and shit. Now, the judge says, we're in the home stretch of the day. Let's get our jury back. So the jury enters. Now, Estevo says, is this from March 4th? The AUSA says, with UCT time, is it March 3rd? Estevo says, okay. Mr. Combs refers to the accessories. Cassie says, for the premiere. You sent him an explicit message, didn't you? Yes. He responded with a bunch of M's. He wrote, too bad you have to work. Cassie said he did. You ask him, are you feeling better? He's discussing his bodily function. Yes? Cassie says, could we just clarify what time these messages are really from? There's a stipulation on that, the AUSA says. Now, back to Puffy's defense. Mr. Combs went to your premiere lunch at London Hotel. Cassie says he did. Then he says, I just got out of a spiritual therapy session. I asked, how did it go? He said, it's a process. This is leading up to the hotel incident. You say, baby, I want to freak off so bad. You were asked in your direct message. And you said that you didn't want him to ruin your premiere. Cassie said, sure. Mr. Combs says if we start at 7 p.m. and go until 4 a.m., you could get enough rest after. Damn. He says it'd be a shorter than usual freak off. That's how I would understand it. What did you say? Carrie is here. We can't do it at my house. You say that guy is sick. I'm not going to ask you what you meant. So you were turning to Johnny. Was he a dancer or an escort? We hired him as a dancer, and he did what an escort does. Oh, do you remember the beginning of this freak off in the Intercontinental? Cassie says, not really. The drugs were bad MDMA, right? I have no idea. Judge says it's 5 o'clock. Jurors, you may go home. Do not look up anything about the case. All rise. The judge also said, thank you, Miss Ventura. No discussions with the government. We'll see you tomorrow. The judge says, how much more? Estevo says, let me check. AUSA Johnson says half an hour and we'll redirect. Puffy's other lawyer says we'll figure it out tomorrow. Have your witnesses ready tomorrow. Who are they? The AUSA says Don Richard. Tough. If there are more issues, you need to email the court. So that pretty much ended the proceedings. So this got really interesting when the freak-offs, you know what I'm saying? The things leading up to the incident where, you know, the footage of Puffy putting his hands on Cassie at that hotel in Los Angeles. You know, and Cassie organized these freak-offs. You know what I'm saying? Since her career did not take off the way it was supposed to, she got delegated to basically the CEO of freak-offs. Since she couldn't drop no music and shit, this is what she did on the regular. Now, Dawn from Danity Kane and Dirty Money is going to testify on Friday. And we could just get into that once those transcripts come out and everything. And, you know, there is also a rumor out there that Aubrey O'Day is going to testify in this trial. That's the other woman that was in Danity Kane with Dawn. So that testimony will be very interesting to see. Yeah, man, this is a crazy case. And Puffy's defense team is killing Cassie right now, because it seems like Cassie, everything seems to be consensual, you know, because they're trying to, you know, the defense team is trying to show that Cassie is nothing more than a sack chaser, someone that's after money, and somebody that's lying on Puffy about getting raped. And, you know, it seems like throughout the questioning that Cassie consented to these things. You know, they also asked her about Ryan Leslie, about the age difference and how she met Puff, and, you know, how things came to fruition about that. She was basically talking about how she left Ryan Leslie for Puffy because Puffy was so charismatic, and it seemed like she'll do anything for Puff. Damn, Cassie, you had a good man, Savannah. And, you know, she fell for the power. She was young. She was naive. And I remember the footage from her actually getting signed and stuff. So, yeah, this P. Diddy case, bruh, this is getting out of control. But this is Kingdom NBA Music Talk, and I'm going.